Hi, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody is well. Happy Thursday for those of you who are live. Those of you wherever you are, thanks so much for being here. Tomorrow will be our day, the last day before our little summer hiatus. I'll give you some more details then. We'll be in touch in terms of what the plan is, but we'll still be having boosts. So don't go anywhere. We're going to go back and find some other ones and show those. It'll be fun. Yesterday, we ended off with this concept of this statement from the rabbis in the famous Pirkei Avos, Ethics of our Fathers, that speaks to the issue that we've been talking about, which is feeling as if we're everywhere but here. And the reason why we're not here is because we don't fully have the capacity to appreciate the value of what we're going through. Like unless we fully understand this equation, we miss it. It's like the people that all of us have this problem, by the way. I was actually talking to somebody yesterday about it. When it comes to food, the physical world throws you for a loop, in that it promises you that what you're really looking for is something physical, right? You get like so excited to have a meal or eat this food or go to this restaurant, and it's never as good as you anticipate it. And even if it is, an hour afterwards, it's not. Like the physical world is an inherently limiting world. Material things really never deliver as much as the anticipation for material things. And in fact, there's incredible science about this. How the happiness you feel towards something that you're pursuing physically or materially really is higher in its anticipation than it is in its accomplishment. So that means that it's more fun to play in the Super Bowl, so to speak, than to win the Super Bowl, believe it or not. And there's other things that you get when you win, but the enjoyment is really in the anticipation of something. That, by the way, and I don't want to digress too far, but this is like cool stuff. That's why, by the way, people are so addicted to gambling. In fact, if you've ever been to a casino, I'm sure you'll see lots of people sitting by slot machines just going like this. It's done on purpose. The way they program slot machines is they always have it that you almost win. That's how it's programmed. Like it's like, lucky seven, the princess or whatever. Always. And the reason is because the second lucky seven now starts to throw a little dopamine into your brain. That's anticipation of, and that anticipation of is what addicts you. Anticipation addicts. And so you can't stop. You can't stop. You get there a little bit, they own you. You bring a busload of the elderly there, they come in with bags of coins. They spend 8 hours by the slot machines. They can't stop. They're literally addicted. It's neurological. It's not just emotional. It's because anticipation addicts. But you learn, if you're paying attention, that this thing doesn't always end up well. So if you live your life chasing physical, which some really smart people do their entire lives, you never, ever feel satisfied. Like you'll never get there. If all you're doing is anticipating and trying to reach physical, you'll never, ever be satisfied. And there are wonderfully smart people who realize this at the end of their lives. And they start giving money back and start coming back, calling their children that they never spoke to when they were younger. And they start realizing, oh my gosh, and they start becoming more connected to God. Like and I don't say they panic, but they recognize later on in their lives, as the material needs wane, oh my gosh, I've been successful in trying to accomplish so many physical things, and I'm still unsatisfied. Maybe I'm on the wrong road. The other sort of equation that we need to understand is the concept that you can never fully appreciate the moment that you're in until the moment's over. We can't possibly understand the value of the moment that I'm in while I'm in it. First of all, because in order to be in it, I need to be in it, which means my brain can't be in the booth commenting on it. I can't be standing up with a lab coat and going, this is a pretty good moment. I got to be in the moment. I can't be in the game and on the top analyzing the game. So by definition, if I'm in a moment and doing it well, I don't have any perception as to whether this is valuable or not valuable for my life. So the moments create a quagmire, a pump fake, in which we can never fully appreciate the moment because we don't have the context. How do you know that when you had a flat tire when you were younger and you were upset, but you had no choice to fix it? You learned how to be more resourceful. And as a result of being more resourceful, later on in life, that enabled you to overcome the challenge in your company. You don't know that until later on, your company, and things, collapse, and everyone's like, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. You're like, relax, you can do it. Like, what do you mean I can't do it? I can't do it, I can't do it. You're like, relax. And you don't even realize that, like, because when you were younger, you did this and then that, and you had to work here, and you had to work here. You put all these pieces together, all these little experiences that are, meaningless to you, and you put them all together, and then it ends up becoming that now you're sitting in a position where you're giving someone advice, and you have what to say. And it dawns on you, wait, back when I was younger and I did that thing, I was more valuable than I thought. How do you know? We did this a while ago, and when we did the show on people that are overcoming addiction. How do they know that we're on there when they're in the, so to speak, on the bottom, and they're fighting through an addiction that's ravaging their mind? That moment is really building them into becoming much bigger people that will later on translate to X, Y, or Z. Who knows? You're living in a moment. You have no idea what the moment means. So since we don't know what it means, we are at risk of ascribing very little value. If you studied the life and the investments of Warren Buffett, you'll see this is his life. The whole world is like running after exciting investments, and he's slowly waiting and making a couple of really big investments that to the rest of the world feel like, who knows the difference? You bought into Geico, you bought into Dairy Queen, you bought into wherever. These small moments, these small investments, when you compound it over time, creates enormous wealth. But each moment, each investment, each decision may not have been catastrophic. That's why we are distracted by yesterday and by tomorrow. It's because we're stuck in a world that doesn't enable us to value the moment while we're in the moment. You only value the moment when the moment has already passed. And so when you're in the moment, because unless with exceptions, if you're playing in the Super Bowl, you know this is going to be a moment, right? If you're achieving something really great, if you're in the middle of some major life cycle, okay, there are times in one's life where, okay, we know, but typically in the day-to-day life, with God's help, in regular life, you don't look at everyday life and be like, okay, this is the moment. You know who had that perspective? There was a man named King David, the greatest king the Jews have ever known. The beginning or the continuation of the lineage of royalty. He wrote a book called Tehillim, Psalms. In one of his Psalms, he has a line that we say on festivals It goes, Zeh hayom hasa Hashem, nagila v'nismecha bo. This is the day that God made. Let us rejoice in it. King David goes, no, relax. Today, just today. Zeh hayom, stay here. Today is the day. And if you live in the world of today or this day, not that day, but this day, that's nagila v'nismacha. That's when you get joy. So how do we live this? So we ended last show with the concept. The rabbis teach us that who is wealthy? Now remember, wealth in our physical eyes is determined by how much capital, how much money you have. That's not what wealth is. If you have all the money in the world, but you can't access it, are you wealthy? If somebody is a billionaire on paper, but he can't sell his stock, so he's cash poor, as they say, is he wealthy? Let's assume you could cash it and you have tons of money, but you're unhappy. Are you wealthy? No. Wealth is money is just a fungible product to buy things that are supposed to make you happy. That's what it's supposed to do. You have no value from wealth. You have no value from monetary wealth if it doesn't lead to anything good. I don't know if I told you about the story of the individual who was incredibly wealthy, who I met, whose life basically fell apart because of his wealth. Like the wealth caused it. How he got his wealth, what the wealth did to his family, what the wealth did to his children, what the wealth did to the sparring of his. And then finally he says to me, like, maybe if I wouldn't have had any money, I would have at least been happy. Like, wealth is not how much you have in the bank. Not the way the rabbis talk about it. I'm not talking about Forbes. You can be sure as day that the rabbis are not being like, hey, whatever, I don't care how happy you are. Wealth is based on your portfolio. Like, you can be sure that the rabbis aren't talking about like, who made the Forbes 100. They're talking about is a life of wealth, of abundance. Abundance comes from your mind. Okay, listen, money is an incredible factor for that. If somebody has capital to spend and not worry about money, it's going to help in the world of abundance. But that's not connected. It's correlated, but there's no causative connection. There's a correlation between how much money you have and how many things you can get, which then ultimately determines how much abundance you have, but it's not causative. There are plenty of people that are incredibly wealthy without enormous amounts of money. So the rabbis say who is wealthy. They're talking about who lives in abundance, whose life is full, who has a full existence, whose internal cup is overflowing, who goes to bed at night and feels like the wine is spilling over the cup, not there's nothing in the cup. And they say, Hasameach b'chelko. Somebody who is happy with his lot. What does that mean? So one time I was watching a bunch of kids play. And there was a lot of, whatever it was, a bunch of kids were over and I was watching them. I was the responsible entity. And you can learn everything from everything, as they say. And I'm watching these two kids play. I'll never forget this. One kid had like a ton of toys around him. Legos and figurines and, castles. And the other kid wanted to play with those things, but he wouldn't let him because it's going to ruin his world that he created. So he gives the other kid like a few things, a car, one or two figurines, and like, I don't know, a couple of blocks or something. And I'm watching this go down. So this other kid gets these 5 or 6 things and starts building this imaginatory world with these few things. Now, kid 1 with all the toys is like, you know, happy-ish. And kid 2 with 5 toys is like blown away. He's like living in La La Land. Like he's the little figurines like a commando, and like, I don't know, jumping off the dresser, which is like a cliff, and he's like in heaven. The 2 kids aren't playing together; they're playing parallel. And the kid with all the toys is like looking over. What's with all the fun? Like, I don't know what's going on over here. Like, I got all the stuff. Like, why is this kid like? He's like looking and playing and putting people together. He's got all this stuff. He's like peering over. This other kid is like losing it. Like he's like running Mossad raids and like, I don't know what he's doing there, but he's like, and kid 1 is like, I don't know what's going on over here. So now remember, kid 2 is in kid 1 is in kid 1's home. So all the toys are kid 1's toys, so to speak. So kid 1 turns to kid 2 and goes, I want to play with those toys. So he goes, why? He goes, because I want those toys. So I'm about to jump in, but I'm like, let them figure it out. They weren't fighting. So the kid 2's like, what? Fine. So kid 1 leaves this whole world that he has and goes to play with the 5 toys that the kid 2 has. So then kid 2 comes and plays with this whole world. So kid 1, who's got now the 5 toys, is trying to recreate this moment, but he can't. And now kid 2, who had fun with 5 toys, I mean, the guy's killing it. I mean, I don't know, he's whatever's going on. And I'm watching this exchange and I'm going to myself, holy cow, he thinks it's the toys. Something to do with the toys. One kid is always looking over his shoulder. And one kid is just figuring out how to make everything he has come alive. Ezehu Ashir, who is wealthy? The person who learns. Happiness is not a result. It is an action. It is a verb. You learn how to happy yourself with where you are right now. Your portion. I got 5 toys. It's going to be awesome 5 toys. I wish I had 150 toys, but okay. I'm going to take 5 toys and make them amazing. I have to find a way. It's a verb. It's an action. It's work. To be sitting home alone and saying, this is the best moment of my life. To be doing something I don't love doing and be like, this is the best moment of my life. To be working in a job that I don't love and going, I got to make this the best moment. I have to work on myself to make moments come alive. Because it doesn't come alive on its own. It's just Lego pieces. It's me who has to bring out the life in something. It's me who has to say, I don't care how many pieces I have at this moment. I got to make this moment come alive. I got to make sleeping come alive. I got to make walking come alive. I don't know the value in what I'm doing, but I know one thing. I'm in this moment. And the rabbis are saying, if you want to live an abundant life, go out and make your life come alive. Don't wait for like God to like send magic dust and you're like, oh, because I wasn't even paying attention. With God's help, we should have moments that blow us all away. We should have the sunsets that we stop the car and go, holy cow. We should have all of those. But that's not how you're going to live your life. I was like, that's not what you're here for? To order by remote control? Uber Eats life? God's like, that's not how we roll. I'm making you into a couch potato. You go make your life great. I'm sending you moments, God says, because I want you to be great. Now go make it great. Go live in your moments. Go find a way to make yourself happy in the moments of your life, in your portions. When we are actively trying to be fully invested in our lives, we have no more time for yesterday and tomorrow. It doesn't matter the value of our the meaning that we're in. We're too busy making it. We're giving it meaning. We're not trying to find meaning. We're trying to infuse meaning. That's what makes us us. God's like, you're my partner. Go make it meaningful. Don't wait for me to make it meaningful. What do you think I have you for? You want to be wealthy? You want to have abundance in your life? Stop looking at the guys playing Lego with more stuff. Just make whatever you got infused with meaning. And then you'll see meaning. All right, we'll continue tomorrow. All right, everybody, have an amazing day. Try this. Find some moment today that's a mundane moment and infuse it with joy. See how it feels. All right, have a great day. With God's help, I cannot wait. See you again tomorrow. Have a great day.